So I'm definitely not a stranger to live streams, but I definitely know what it's like to have some really shitty games and to have some okay games and then to have some fantastic games like this one. And these don't come along too often. These are definitely in the minority, but the fact that it happened in a tier that I like, using some pokes that I really enjoy, a couple I don't use, a couple I use often. Y'all can see Arcanine, I rock that. I definitely mess with that guy a lot. I got Honchkrow, I got Lucario. Lucario Yu this generation, kind of weird. He's got a good amount of stuff on his end too that we'll cross those bridges when we get to him. I know I say that a lot, but it's a good transition into the game. What can I say? So he's gonna go and lead off with Mienshao, which is, you know, pretty much what I thought he'd lead off with. As much as I did want to lead off with Registeel, I don't want to risk him going for the high jump kick or the, you know, fighting move right off the bat. I could take it, but not well, and I can't foresee whether or not I'll actually need that in the end game, so I might as well just lead off with Tornadus and then scare him off because I'm naturally faster than him. And here I go underestimating how much slower, or not how much slower, how much bulkier Altaria is than I naturally give it credit for. That's a Life Orb Air Slash because I really don't like messing around with Hurricane. Even though it is a huge power cut, there's just different things you can run with Hurricane. Also, this is using Kalos rules, by the way, because he has XY. So I don't have any new Megas, and I was looking at my U box, and I was like, I only want to use new Megas. So I just decided not to bring a Mega, I think. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Anyways, I'm not too worried about it. It feels like 5th gen back in the day before Megas. Back in the day when UU was an interesting tier. 4th gen UU was... 5th gen UU? Alright. 6th gen UU? Yeah, let's do it. So, he's got Aggron, and he's got a couple of other potential Megas here. But thinking about it, I think it was between Absol and Aggron. And I was like, Absol is more than likely to show up in UU stock than Aggron is, so Aggron is more than likely going to end up being his Mega. And with that in mind, he did have a couple of potential Magic Bouncers here, both in Absol and in Espeon. But I think if I'm going to get Rock set up against anything, it's probably going to be this thing. And I didn't want to get T-Waved, and I didn't want to get, you know, Heavy Slammed or Ice Punched or anything like that. Honchkrow versus Mega Aggron is not a great matchup in the first place, so I figure I'll just switch out to Registeel. And because I see T-Wave, he's probably going to end up being a Stealth Rocking set, so I figure I'll get my own up. It's a good opportunity to do that. I do have a Spinner on this team, and I don't have a lot that's terribly weak to it outside of, you know, Honchkrow and Tornadus. As long as he doesn't Dragon Tail me into one of those, everything will be golden. Otherwise, you know, a little bit of damage here and there. Honchkrow does have Roost. Tornadus is the one that's really on a timer. And speak of the fucking devil, look what he brings in. I don't necessarily really like this matchup. I figured I was gonna die on this turn, which is why I ended up going for a Tailwind to support the rest of my team. Thankfully I did get Stealth Rocks up because it does help against this Altaria, which is actually gonna end up being a special defensive wall, and I don't have a great matchup against it, I'm not gonna lie. But truthfully, I don't have high hopes for this Tornadus. I didn't really in the first place, just because, you know, I have to put Hurricane on this thing after this. It's not worth it to run Air Slash. You definitely don't get the damage output you could. I just don't like running Hurricane and Focus Blast on the same set. I can see why this thing's UU. If you gotta rely on 70% accurate moves or whatever the hell Hurricane is, it's definitely not 100, that's for sure. I had a crit there, and I don't roll high enough to take him out, which is a little unfortunate. And then he just gets back up to full. Now, well, not up to full, but he gets back up to reasonable, and he can just Life Orb stall me out of this. So as long as the crit didn't kill him, I kind of want to say it didn't really matter in the long run. If anything, it just kind of coaxes me to stay in here even more, and, you know, maybe try to get flinches and shit like that. And look at that, I get one there. So Air Slash does have a pretty generous chance to do it. So all I really wanted was one at the time that I ended up dying. But I'm actually going to go for a Tailwind right here because if he does want to take me out, that's fine. I would much rather have things on my team be much faster than everything else. In hindsight, not sure if not going for Air Slash right there was the best move, but it looked like it wasn't going to take it out anyway. And I might, yeah, just 2 turns of Tailwind is not bad. So right there, if he doesn't Roost up to full, I would have been surprised because he definitely had the opportunity to, knowing that I had Life Orb and I wasn't going to go for another Tailwind. So a little bit of a choke there by going for the Dragon Pulse. It happens. I've done it from time to time. I just felt the need to point it out there. So I'm going to go into Starmie right now. And I had 5 Life Orbs on this team before I went into this game. This is one of the things I gave leftovers. I regret giving this thing leftovers because look at that. Slash, I regret not going for the Air Slash on that little... It's the little things during the game that add up and they just end up giving you a lot of trouble. So right here, I think I ended up going for a Thunderbolt, predicting Mega Aggron to come in and resist it. I don't think I have Water Stab on this thing. I think I'd much rather have the other coverage. But hey, you know what? T-Bolt is going to take this thing out just fine because it was in the red anyway. But yeah, if Mega Aggron came in, it would have had to take one of those, and then I probably would have just Rapid Spun on it, to be honest, just to get rid of the rocks on my end. Not a big fan of them. But I'm not noticing anything that's a Rapid Spinner, I think, right off the bat, that I remember on his side of the team, which is why I'm glad I got him up fairly early, and the chip damage is definitely going to help. So, Fake Out is definitely a thing that I don't want anything else to take as well. I do have leftovers. I don't have Recover on this thing, though, which, again, a little unfortunate to not have that or that. I may tweak this set a little bit, but I got the Rapid Spin off, and ultimately that's probably my biggest goal in the game, to get these out the field so that way Honchkrow can have a little bit more breathing room near the end game. And I know Aggron is still around, but I do have something that can switch in on Aggron very nicely, set up on it, and I think that actually does end up happening later in this game. So right there, he goes for a Dazzling Gleam, actually predicting I believe my Honchkrow to come in, which is fine. You know, it would have taken me out anyways. That's okay, too. And I'm actually going to go out into my Registeel right now. Looking at it now, he could be Specs. I'm not 100% because he switches out immediately after. Or maybe he's just switching out just for the sake of switching out. I don't know. If he was a screener, he could have gotten screens up there. But I didn't notice any Life Orb recoil, and that was an unstabbed Dazzling Gleam. So maybe I'm underestimating Starmie, or overestimating Starmie, or underestimating Espeon. I was at like half, though, so I guess it's fair. Right there, he does predict my Honchkrow to come in again. The fact that he's predicting very aggressively for this thing to come in means that it's more of a threat to his team than I'm giving it credit for initially, and I think I gave it leftovers, which is something that's kind of a shame right now. I know Registeel, I know Special Defensive Registeel, I know the matchup versus Nidoking and Nidoqueen. I know versus Nidoqueen, it is a solid 3-hit KO barring any crits or weird rolls. Like, if you were to get, I think, like, extreme high, and I had, like, a spike switch in, it could be, like, a 2-hit KO, but Registeel soaks these things up, so I'm actually pretty okay with that. Right here, oh, man, I would have loved to go for a Thunder Wave. It was something that was on my mind for a second, and I was like, nah, we'll just get damage. I guess that's okay. But even if he wants to go for a Fake Out and then a Drain Punch immediately after, I know I can take it from a little bit higher, / I don't want to take it right now. And I think we did learn somewhere around this point in time that he does in fact have Drain Punch. I think I got a little bit ahead of myself there, but he does have Drain Punch instead of High Jump Kick. I don't think Mienshao necessarily really needs Drain Punch. It appreciates it, don't get me wrong, but I'd much rather be running, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'd much rather run High Jump Kick and Knock Off than like Drain Punch and something else. I know Drain Punch is 100% accuracy, but Mienshao needs to kill in order to do good, and I don't think that's really necessarily proven true in this game, because it does just fine. It's a hit and run poke, and it just does a lot of hitting and running at the appropriate time. So he plays his Mienshao really well. I go for an E-Speed right there, and he brings this thing back in without an Intimidate. So going back to the whole Drain Punch discussion thing, if you need like a freaking panic button, Drain Punch is not going to be your panic button, is essentially what I'm going to say. So if you got other pokes that can do that, hey, go for it. Other than that, it's working out pretty good from here. I think just between Regenerator, you don't really have to worry about your health too much, because you usually just go for a Fake Out and then a High Jump Kick, and then just either U-turn out of there, Hard Switch, get most of your HP back. You don't really spend generally longer than 3 turns in with Mienshao. So right here, I knew I was going to scare him out by bringing this thing in the way I did, because he was going to think I was Scarfed. So I actually just decided to end up going for a Substitute here, I believe. In hindsight, not sure what the correct play would have been there. I don't have Superpower. This is a dual stab sub-roosting Honchkrow. And Sucker Punch, I think, is a pretty solid 4-hit KO on this thing. Doesn't resist. It is adamant, but I'm not Life Orb, and that's from that range as well. So he's got Stealth Rock, he's got T-Wave, he's got Iron Head. I believe we saw Dragon Tail a little bit earlier, so I know his full set, and I can't imagine him wanting to go for anything other than that, but I guess maybe he thought, I don't know. I thought that he thought that I would have switched right there, not wanting to stay in and repeat this matchup, but he's pretty persistent on going for the Iron Head, so I might as well just go with it. I think I take the opportunity right around now to go into my Lucario, if I'm not mistaken. That sounds about right. And we're getting near the mid-late game where if I'm going to do anything with it, I need to do it now, and this is the perfect thing to do it against. So this is my special Lucario, which is the only reason I feel pretty comfortable about this matchup. Iron Head, not going to do too much, but I need to set up a nasty plot right now. I know he's probably going to T-Wave. That's fine. I honestly don't know whether or not an Aura Sphere would have taken him out from half. Yeah, probably. But between being paralyzed and having boosted Vacuum Waves versus going for stock Aura Spheres and then trying to hit Vacuum Waves on things that are going to be faster than me, like Espeon, I don't know. I guess this was cooler, the better of the two to me, and I momentarily spaced on Thunder Wave in the first place, so that's fine. Looking at the range of HP he was at, I felt pretty good about a +2 Vacuum Wave, which is why I decided to go for it. And I get burned off of this roll. He ends up with like a hilariously low amount of HP. That definitely could have been one, but he once again goes for a Dazzling Gleam right here, probably predicting my Honchkrow to come in, and that's fine. So a little bit of a disappointment right there. I did take out the Mega Aggron though, which means rocks are gone for the rest of the game. I believe my Spinner is also gone as well, so whoop, that's a thing that happens. Anyway, Sucker Punch happens on Espeon. Take it out, get the Moxie boost. I don't think I really feel too comfy about the rest of this game, so I think it's just Honchkrow left. I think I got Honchkrow versus the rest of his world, which happens to be Absol and Mienshao. So he can go for a Fake Out here if he wants to. That would be fine. I think I just end up... Oh, you know what? I have Registeel. That's right. So we're not at that point in the game yet. But I have a plan. And the plan is to paralyze the Mienshao because Honchkrow can beat Absol 1v1 just fine. And Registeel, as long as I can live the Drain Punch, and I actually ended up at the same amount of HP that I was before, and I was like, fuck it, I have to go with it. So, High Jump Kick would have killed here. High Jump Kick would have killed and not gotten himself paralyzed. So, kind of a big deal in my book, even though he does have Fake Out. At this point in the game, it's everything is as slow as Honchkrow or slower than Honchkrow. And I'm not sure if Absol is running a positive speed nature or anything of the sort. Or I don't know if he thinks I'm a jolly Honchkrow. I'm definitely not a jolly Honchkrow. I gotta be an adamant one since, you know, I can get behind a sub, get Moxie boost. It works, but you need to get the kills in order for that to happen. So Registeel paralyzed the Mienshao, soaked up a couple hits from Nidoqueen, and ultimately got Rocks Up, which are gonna help a little bit against these two. Not really. Absol doesn't get a lot of damage here, so that's fine. So now it is actually Honchkrow versus the rest of the world. But, oh my god. I don't know what I was expecting here, but it does turn out that he is faster, and I guess roosting probably would have been a bad play there. Maybe I should have subbed. I really don't know, because if I subbed and then I roosted, maybe not. I don't know how that would have panned out. But at this point, if he gets paralyzed on the Fake Out and I Brave Bird, I win. That's it. Or if I roost on that, then I would have won because I would have been faster than him anyway. But if he doesn't get paralyzed, then, you know, he basically has the game. Good game up until this point regardless, though. And it turns out he actually does get paralyzed on the Fake Out, which definitely does happen not that often in terms of, you know, getting paralyzed on the Fake Out. But you can get paralyzed on any move, guys. Like, any move, including that one. And I was just so stupid. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. We'll go for the Brave Bird, and we'll seal ourselves the tie game. Because tie games are cool. You know, I definitely could have just gone for the Roost and then the Brave Bird immediately after. But what's the fun in that? How often do you get to say you were in a tie game? I've been in a few. Probably less than 10. More than 5 for sure. But we'll just add this one on there just because, you know what? It's funny. So, anyways, that's the Yu match. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, you can leave a like rating, comment, subscribe, and do your thing. You all know how it goes. I got a couple of other I can't talk. I got a couple of other good games from the stream as well. I'll try to get a couple more, maybe on Twitter. I don't know. I'm basically just trying to gen a bunch of pokes and then just do as we do on those. Try to get different pokes going on is the more important thing. Try to use different megas, and in this one I didn't even use any megas, so I guess I don't really have room to talk on that one. Anyways, that'll do it. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.